Gobble, gobble, you silly turkeys. Welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back to all you Regs and to all you Shinies. Welcome back to the podcast, you silly, silly turkeys. I completely lost my train of thought.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, 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 gobble. Gobble.
Please, if you aren't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, make sure that you're following us on all of our social medias, that being Instagram, X, TikTok, and Twitch. Also, hit the join button on the channel, support us, and Patreon at the end of the month giveaway. Jackson, giveaway.
Giveaway is Uppo.
Giveaway.
What?
And if you join our Gungan Boss tier of the Patreon, that's how you get entered in there. Link in the description below.
Turkey Day.
Turkey Day, blah, 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 blah. And we also have merch
We do have merch.
that we haven't talked about in a really long time, but it's still there.
It's there.
So you should go buy some.
It's there.
I should go buy some. And it's cool. It's cool merch.
That is true. That is true.
And we have channel memberships. They're 99 cents a month. Shout out to all. I think there's like 15 people that are in the channel membership now. Yeah. So shout out
They've
to all
been
of you
getting stuff
guys.
early.
Shout out to YouTube for not giving us our money.
Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah.
No, the Gungan Boss patrons have been getting the podcasts like a day early.
Okay, I thought
So
that also
I've done it like the
YouTube.
last 4 in a row. So I've been on a hot streak.
good.
Let's hope I can
That's
keep it
good.
going. Because
They deserve it.
they do. And that's supposed to be one of the benefits of the Gungan Boss tier is early podcasts.
That's a neck on us.
That's a neck, but yeah. So how's everybody doing? Good.
Tommy,
Good.
I think you and I have some very important stuff to talk about that we did last week, and we absolutely spanked some
my
kids in
God.
Star Wars
Oh my
trivia,
God,
bro.
dude.
Tommy low-key carried me on the last round, I will admit it, but...
Dude, we absolutely mopped the floor with any and all competitors in, light work, no reaction.
Yep.
We were Mercyhurst, our college that I graduated from, Jackson goes to, did like a Star Wars trivia night, which is pretty cool that they did something like that.
It was the bar that hosted it, too.
Yeah, Jackson invited me to it. We showed up, and literally, I think there were 4 games, and I think we won 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, you won... Crud. Didn't you win the second one?
I think I won the second game and the 4th game.
Did you just say crud?
What?
You just said crud.
I didn't think about it.
Everybody, this is an unprecedented moment. Crud has been uttered on the podcast.
Okay, let's
resume.
But Tommy and I absolutely demolished these kids. There was one kid there, though, that was doing really good.
There was another team of 2. Shout out to he followed us on Instagram. I'm not going to dox his name, but I did give him a business card because the 4 of us, there were some questions on some of those quizzes
that were just strictly legends.
Dude, literally because she said the lady running it wasn't the one that put it together.
Yeah.
She said that students put it together. It put like each student like did their own quiz. There were 4 of them. The first one was like, she's like, this is the easiest one.
Which was
and
the
it was
hardest
all
one.
like legends stuff from like 90s comic books.
Yeah, dude.
And
It
like
was
early
ridiculous.
2000s. Like the one was like, who did Obi-Wan kill on Tatooine? Was it Sharad Het or a Sharad Het? And I was like, it was definitely a Sharad Het, but apparently it was his dad, Sharad Het. And the comic books are weird because there's tons of different continuities that all go at the same. It was dumb.
The other question was, who is Boba Fett's sister? Obviously, Omega being the answer, and it's some random legends chick who I've
It was
never
like
heard of.
Alea or something like that,
Yeah.
or Arlaya.
Something
Dude,
stupid.
absolutely
I was like,
insane.
What the hell?
Yeah, but the 4 of us kind of bonded, us and those 2 other
Yep.
dudes, because we all kept looking at each other like, what? That's not even canon. Why are we...
Dumbest question of the night, how many limbs did Anakin lose before he became Vader? The answer, obviously, if you know Star Wars, is 4. They said it was 5.
And there
What
was
is the
no
fifth
explanation.
limb.
What is the
There's
fourth
no
limb?
5th limb.
Well, he gets his first arm cut off
Yep.
by Dooku, and then he gets his other arm and his 2 legs cut off by Obi-Wan.
That's right.
Yep.
But they said 5, so either they were talking about his phallic member, or they were talking about how he got... that wouldn't make sense either,
It
though,
just
because he
doesn't
keeps
make
his
sense.
robot arm on Mustafar.
Because that's the only thing that's
Or is it his
crawling
hand in episode 6?
That's what I was going to say, but that's
Oh
even
my-
dumber, though, because it's
they
already
said
been cut
before-
off.
But they said Anakin before he became Vader, strictly in the question.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they're probably talking about his little braid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But,
but that was ridiculous.
Or his eye.
The scar in his eye, that might
so
be. You didn't
stupid.
lose it, though.
Yeah, Tom and I mopped though, and we got a lot of really good stuff.
Dude,
too
we
for
were
it.
people like they may as well have just quit after the second.
Oh
game.
yeah,
But dude, it was there was another question where it was like, what's AT-AT stand for? And
Oh
they
my gosh, that was
they
stupid.
spelled it wrong on purpose on the one. So they put all terrain, but terrain only had one R.
I could never. My dyslexic ass.
I look and I see all terrain armored transport, and I go, okay. Boop.
That's what
and then
I
I
did
looked
too.
longer, like after I picked my thing, and I go, are you kidding me?
I didn't know we were at a damn spelling bee. I thought I was doing
Yeah.
a Star Wars quiz.
Stupid.
That was really stupid.
Yeah, there was like almost for each person that won each round, it was like probably like $100 in prizes per person.
It was
nuts.
a lot. I mean, it was really nice because we each got. I was going to remind one of us to bring the bag, but I didn't.
I already put all my stuff away from the bag.
Fair. Mine's still laying around, but we got like. I got like a vintage Star Wars T-shirt. I got a Grogu sweatshirt. We got a series thing. I got the slave one. He got.
I got the
Razor
Razor. No, not the. Yeah, I got the Razor Crest. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of like candy and like all sorts of other stuff too. So it was like super awesome, to be honest with you.
It was awesome. Yeah, I was really surprised. It was super fun, and I would totally go do it again.
I would totally do it again if they did that.
Yeah, and we made some friends, and we had a good time. So.
Oh yeah.
And also, had I hosted a Friendsgiving that you guys were both at over the weekend, so that was a lot of fun.
was lit. It was.
Everyone brought food that was good.
Food was good. Shout out to Paul. You're the worst human being ever. This turkey's also the dumbest thing ever. Screw you.
I brought cheesecake.
That's all gone
The
now.
cheesecake was
It
good.
is?
all
You ate
gone.
an entire cheesecake in a week?
I think I had like 3 pieces like the next day.
Did you eat the pumpkin pie yet?
It's like half gone.
No.
Yeah.
Cheesecake was
kinda like,
better. Cheesecake was better.
No,
I took that W.
pumpkin pie.
Well,
all
what,
the way,
which
bro.
one is gone? Which one is gone?
Oh, shut
exactly.
I didn't want to
took
take
that
the
W.
pumpkin pie back, bro. I was just feeling lazy. I said Tom could use it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Free dessert.
Free dessert.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun, and yeah, everyone brought good food.
Yeah.
I did indulge in some wine.
A
So,
little bit. I
very
indulged
good.
in a little bit of the raspberry wine.
Oh,
Dude,
dude.
They brought 5. There was 5 or 6 bottles, and like 4 or 5 of them were gone.
Gone.
By
Within an
the
hour,
time it was
bro.
over.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
washed the dishes
Shout out to Jacob. Jacob was a G and offered to wash the dishes. So,
because
Yeah.
I came late.
but yeah. Aside from that, I also just purchased some Star Wars Legion. I got the Clone Wars starter kit. So over the weekend, I'm gonna go buy some paints and I'm gonna try my hand at a new hobby. See how I am with it. I could be absolutely ass, but I've painted some stuff before and I've done pretty good.
I gotta send you some videos to. There's this channel I follow, and all they do is they paint the Warframe
Warhammer?
stuff. Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
And they have like the basics how to do it, where it's like you just basically you paint it like matte gray first, and then you dark wash it, and then you just like do like little things to make it look better for like creatures and like troopers and things like that. So I'll send
Yeah.
you some of their stuff. But
And I've already like looked at expansions and stuff, and
Nice.
I'm gonna hold off because I could buy the set and be like, I'm awful at painting these and never want to touch them again.
Yeah.
But they have like a Commando Droid expansion pack. They have an ARC Trooper one. They have a Captain Rex and Anakin. They've got Ventress. They have like Mandalorians. But then there's like also an Ewok one that just came out where you can get a whole group of just Ewoks to play as.
That's kind of funny.
So I'm pretty excited, and then obviously it'll be fun because then we can all play it, as like as a fun thing to go do instead of just I paint the miniatures and then they're done, because it's an actual game to play. So pretty cool, and then I can get little set pieces and do all that. But, yeah.
How about you, Jay?
what did I do? I finished. So my job on post production for the main film I was working on is done.
Cool.
I got little things to edit with the documentary left. The fun project that Ryan and I were doing, the espionage script with like the superhero fight, that's basically done. I spent 2-3 days ago, spent 3 hours working on it, doing Foley. So we had like all like footsteps and sounds of jackets wrestling that I had to re-record and things like that. So that was fun. Those are basically done. I got basically one last thing to do, and then I filmed, edited, and all that fun stuff for Jackson's final for one of his classes.
Yeah.
Which will be available to Patreon members if you want to watch my final video on my atheism class.
For another 6 months until it disappears.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? You just delete it? You just take it off, bro?
What do you mean?
All right.
What do you mean?
Y'all don't want to watch it? Just let me know.
No, I'm going to watch it.
Oh, okay. You're not going to... A lot of people... I'll put like a whole like warning thing before it. Like,
Actually, that's
not
iceberg.
a lot of people are going to like it.
That's iceberg worthy right there. Like lower tier iceberg is Jackson's school projects.
Final school projects on the Patreon.
Yeah, it'll just say Jackson's school projects, and people will be like, "What?" And then all the OGs will know.
Another day, another victory for the OG.
Dude, I was playing... Okay, so over the summer, Delilah got me Alien Isolation. I watched Aliens, the sequel to the first Alien movie.
Yeah.
And I played it, and I was like, you know what? I never finished that game.
Is that like the one where it's first person?
Mm-hmm.
You're hiding and stuff?
Yeah, it's really, really fun. So last night, because I played a ton of it over the summer, and then like throughout school, I just haven't really played video games at all. So I was like, you know what?
That's how that works.
I'm going to play. And I'm going through this, and I get to like, I have to blow up this reactor to the ship, and there's like a nest that you find like underneath. Like after I already thought the aliens were off the ship, turns out that there's like tons of them now. And it's like, oh, you had to blow up the whole nest. I'm like, okay, this is definitely like end game stuff. And it just kept going and going and going. And then I stopped because I was so annoyed. I was like, how many more life-ending, earth-shattering events can happen in this game? I was getting so annoyed. I'm like, this too much. It's too many slices. Just stop.
That's enough slices.
So I had enough of it. I was fed up with the amount of too much content for once. So I stopped. So I'll probably get back on the horse tonight after we record and see how much further I can go.
Very
but
nice.
it's fun.
Fun tonight, but I'm not.
Horror movies no longer scare me because everything's semi-predictable.
Yeah.
Like the only thing's like uncomfortable is like what I'll feel. Horror games though, they still scare me just because it's totally different to like be an outside person watching it and being like, oh, this is gonna happen, and then like when you're playing it, it's like it's kind of happening to you.
You have to take the action. You don't have to passively watch and judge the other person's action.
So it's scarier, but then like when you get to a point like where you just keep dying repeatedly, then it just becomes frustrating and no longer scary.
I feel that.
FNAF isn't scary anymore.
Outlast is another one.
Outlast is scary.
Outlast is scary, but there are some parts where like if you play it enough, you're just like...
I stopped playing that because there's the part with the pipes and there's Big Pig, and I just stopped being scared of Big Pig and started getting really frustrated with these pipes, and then I couldn't figure out the puzzle. So I just stopped playing it because I don't like it's like, oh, you sneak all the way around just for him to find you. And it's like I made all that progress for nothing. And it's like I go back to the beginning, I just do it over, and it's like I just got sick of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm like halfway through Outlast because I got the doctor section was really hard.
Doctor.
He was tough. I remember I had that game in middle school and we had like a Halloween sleepover. Everybody was in this room and I had Outlast up on this TV and I was playing it. And Caleb King was, shout out to you, Caleb King, even though you're not watching this. He was super scared. He's like, okay, maybe we should like not be playing this, guys. It's kind of like spooky. And like
I don't remember that.
The first jump scare happened and everybody was like, maybe we should turn this off. And I was like, okay.
Nice.
At any rate.
So we got a couple Star Wars little news bits. One is for Star Wars in general. Dave Filoni, according to Vanity Fair and all other very reliable news sources, Dave Filoni has just been promoted as the new Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm. Because of his work on Ahsoka.
That's cool.
So what this new position is, it just means that he has direct say on the continuity of every single Star Wars project that comes out in the future.
As God intended.
So this is a perfect place, even more perfect than where he already was, in my opinion. This is a perfect spot for him. He gets to make sure that everything makes sense. We don't have those little continuity issues, with some of these projects that come out. So
we also don't have to worry about the big bad Kathleen anymore. So now she's not a scapegoat anymore because now Dave has her job.
She's still a scapegoat.
Everyone's still gonna use her.
I saw TikToks and people would be commenting like people like war is over. Dave Filoni's and people would be like, oh, finally now people can stop blaming Kathleen Kennedy, and then people commented back and be like, no, I'm gonna still blame her.
Yeah, everyone's
It's
still
so
just
dumb.
gonna blame her till the end of time.
She probably
or
got
anything.
promoted as well to a position in Lucasfilm that isn't creative. So she probably gets more money now, but it's just hands off.
As far as I know, as president of Lucasfilm, she doesn't she just stamps give the go ahead on budgets and stuff.
She does now. Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She never.
She was in a creative position prior to Dave's promotion.
Yeah.
So now she probably got promoted, and now she's just a numbers person, which is fine by me.
Yeah, but that's a good spot for Dave because he can still write stuff and work with Jon Favreau and do all that. But
see, unlike Marvel, we have one person that is the pure creative director of everything who knows how the story is supposed to go.
Marvel has one creative head. His name I can't remember off the top of my head. But
the point that I'm just making is that some stuff in Marvel I feel like is just inconsistent.
Well, it's because they give it off to different directors and let them choose their path.
But it's also the part of it with Marvel, and I know we've talked about this, is Marvel's in right now, present day America, and real world. So directors will have different, and writers, they'll have different messages that they want to send to the audience, and that becomes the focus of the story. And they're not the in-universe continuity becomes secondary to the story they want to tell because they don't have to world build and do all this stuff like we have to do for Star Wars. So that's probably why.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm just really excited that Dave it'll be people write a script and they'll say, okay, here. And Dave will say, okay, well, if you want to do this, you need to change this, this, and this so it makes sense. Or, if people okay, well, this is how we want this to look on screen. It's going to be okay, well, hang on. You need to do it this way. It can't just be done like this. And it's little stupid stuff that all together makes everything feel more cohesive.
Yep. That's cool.
All good news. All good news.
And in this exact same day, we got more good news about people being hired and some people getting fired. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Canada is no longer employed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He will now be serving your drinks at Starbucks. So go to your local Starbucks and spit in his face. It was a 1-2 punch of Dave Filoni's promote. I woke up and I was so groggy, and it was one of those things where it's I just opened Instagram because I was I'm gonna scroll and then I'm gonna get my day rolling, and the first thing I saw was this post from the Steelers. And usually when they do the white thing, the text with the symbol, I was oh, it's usually some owner or some player from 100 years ago died. And I read it. I saw Matt Canada's name. I was I read it again. I was I read what it finally said, and my mom was downstairs, and I had morning throat, so it was your throat's real groggy. I was Mom, they fired Matt Canada, and she was oh, that's very nice, sweetie. And then I called everybody. I was yes. So no, I'm very excited for this weekend to see if there are any changes with how the Steelers are playing. I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
In other Star Wars news,
we have a little info behind the scenes on the Knights of the Old Republic remake that's supposedly coming out. Basically, the news is just that it might be shelved altogether, and that it might
delayed indefinitely.
It's delayed because they switched developing companies for who was going to be in charge of it, and then the guy, I forget his name, that's in charge of that company. People asked him about that game, and he goes, I'm not going to comment on that because it's going to be a headline. So it sounds like it's either there is no release date, and we already knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it sounds like it might be not on the forefront for really to come out anytime soon at all.
That's okay with me.
Don't get
massive.
I
fans.
was excited for it decently because I like Star Wars games. But with Outlaws on the horizon and then Eclipse maybe not even happening, it's kind of it's the same thing now as with Star Wars movies and shows. Don't tell me it's happening unless it's coming out next year.
Okay. Well, and the other crazy thing too is that game, the KOTOR game, was only supposed to be PC and PS5. Yeah. It wasn't even going to be Xbox.
Oh.
So.
When the Star Wars Eclipse trailer came out, didn't it say it was going to release in
2027, 2028.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. It's all these people are what happened to Eclipse? What happened to Eclipse? I'm bro, it's not even going to come out yet.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the Eclipse is that Eclipse was made the trailer that we got was to get people excited and get revenue, investors, and developers to go onto the project, and it didn't work. They don't have a lot of people working on it, so we don't know if it's even going to come out.
Yeah,
they're having a lot of trouble with the development of that. So that's why I'm just like,
shame.
Star Wars Outlaws, I know is going to happen. So I'm very excited for that game.
My face when I'm a bald meathead who criticizes Star Wars and Outlaws is only a woman.
Why can't I customize my
Why
character?
can't I customize the character? That's a very unique way to say why can't I play as a man, but
can't customize your character if you're a survivor.
No, you can't.
But no, I'm very excited about that. And speaking of Ubisoft related things, Ubisoft just dropped VR Assassin's Creed on the Oculus.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And you can play, there's 3 chapters. One's as Ezio, one's as Connor in Assassin's Creed 3, and then one's as Mita, I think it is, in Odyssey. But I really want to get it just to play as Connor.
That would be
that's a childhood dream right there. But very cool. I don't know if there's anything else in the video game news that's happening.
Not that I know of.
Oh, Scream 7, probably not happening anymore.
That's unfortunate. We're not going to talk about that too much, Jacob, because we should transition to our topic since it's related to video games.
We have this week's topic for the podcast is so recently, actually a couple weeks ago, Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017 just turned 6 years old. I don't think it was last Friday, but the Friday before that. Just turned 6 years old, and so I kind of thought it would be fun to sit down and talk about the history of the game, kind of our experience, because we all played it from day one. Mm-hmm. Kind of talk about our thoughts from the initial reveal with the game trailer, kind of going through, and a little bit of the drama behind the game and the history behind the game, and then eventually what was supposed to be the future of Battlefront 2 that never was.
A nice commemorative look back on something that we really enjoyed. And we still, it's kind of funny to see 6 years that game came out. We still play in the Star Wars. That's like the game the Star Wars community will play, minus obviously a lot of the modded.
But Squadrons, guys, we gotta play Squadrons.
Hot take: the Starfighter Assault mode in Battlefront 2 is infinitely better than the entire Star Wars.
Absolutely correct.
Yep.
Dap me up.
Yep. Because they made Squadrons is just Starfighter Assault but clunky.
Yeah,
it's just too much.
I've heard though that if you play that game with a VR headset and like a joystick, that it's like the most immersing Star Wars gaming experience like ever.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
I wish that they would do a port of it on the Oculus because PlayStation has VR and it's PlayStation VR compatible, but for nothing else. Xbox, make a VR thing, please.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, that's the other thing with Battlefront though is you brought up like 6 years and we're all still playing it is because there hasn't been a Star Wars first-person shooter game that you can play with friends.
A Star Wars multiplayer game that doesn't suck.
Yeah, pretty much.
To be honest.
That's why everybody sticks with Battlefront 2, because there's nothing else. I mean, you could play 2015, but who's going to play that? No one plays that anymore.
I kind of like the 2015 Battlefront.
I like the customization in that one more than I like the customization in the new game. But that being said,
I have seen a lot though. I can't remember the name of it, but there's this game on the Oculus that has an entire port like built within the game that is classic Battlefront, but you can play it in VR.
That's cool.
Oh, I have some news that'll disappoint Jacob before we get into this topic too. Star Wars Hunters has been delayed again.
Doesn't matter, I already have it.
It's now been delayed to probably, they're saying maybe middle of 2024. And by the way, the game, like you're saying, you're playing it, the game is done, has been done for over a year now. And they're literally adding new hunters into the game for like international audiences. And they're like, but we're not ready to release the game to Americans yet.
Let's take a gander. Also, if you want Star Wars Hunters, this works for Android. Just get a VPN, create a Google account, set it for India, just use a random zip code in India, and download it, and then just never touch that Google account again. Because if you use a separate Google account, it doesn't ping your actual one that you use in India, it just pings that one. So that's how you get Star Wars Hunters on Android. It's really.
Where do you live in India?
It's where Audion lives. I used his zip code. I was like, Audion, what's your zip code? But no, it's a done game. There's tons of events now. There's more skins being added all the time. Like, look. Oh, new hunter I've never even seen before.
Yeah, it's Trandoshan.
Yeah, so no, the game is done and it's a ton of fun.
And they're about to add a new one too.
Yeah, there's two new hunters that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Diego and Char.
Yeah, they're about to
So-
do another one.
That's just stupid.
I think it's going to be like a K2SO type droid. It's going to be the next one.
But the dumb thing is that it's not officially released. The only places it's being released to is mobile and on the Switch.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not like this is like a huge console drop, like where it's gonna be like a big deal. So I don't know why they don't just drop it.
But yeah, I figured I would just let you know that.
It doesnn't mean anything to me because I already have it. So.
But yeah, so Star Wars Battlefront 2, way back in 20, it was like a little convention they showed was it E3?
Might have
They
been
showed the
E3.
initial trailer.
Yeah, a con that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about, dude.
So at E3 2016, 2017,
2016.
they showed off the trailer for this game. And I remember first seeing the clone troopers in the cinematic trailer and thinking that was crazy. And then seeing them fighting on Naboo and then Darth Maul's lightsaber comes swinging around.
Like the not clear.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
like the biggest meme before the drop of the game, too.
Yeah, it was that, and then seeing Darth Maul and Yoda fighting on Naboo was for me immediately took my hype for this game to a whole new height, because I loved Battlefront 2015, but Battlefront 2015 was plagued by microtransactions like season passes and paying for extra content, which I'm not going to really give a dig to because that was also very typical. I was huge into Call of Duty at that time, and Call of Duty did season passes and DLC packs, and those were like $15 a piece.
Yeah.
They came out like 4 per game. So it was pretty typical for the time. It was just that Battlefronts was like $60 on top of your $60 game.
Yeah.
You know?
It was also the fact that it was very limited in its customability, so there wasn't a whole lot to keep people playing, and it was only in the OT.
Yeah, I think,
It was only the OT at first.
Yeah, so
Obviously, they added more later.
No, it was only OT the whole time. You only added more for Battlefront 2.
Okay, no, that's what I was talking about, was Battlefront 2. My bad.
So for me, the Battlefront 2, the trailer showed me everything that I was hoping was going to happen for Battlefront 2015 was Clone Wars era. You also got sequel era, so you had the 3 major eras of the Skywalker saga, and you had a lot more planets were advertised. And then the beta came out, and I remember the beta was super fun.
The beta was hype, dude.
You got to play Galactic Assault on Naboo, and you got to play as the clones and the droids. And that for me was like, I played
That sealed the
endlessly.
deal.
I would go home from school, and I would rush to go play that game, man.
There was a portion of time where it was me, Jackson, Tommy, and a kid named Caleb Smith, and all we would do was play Star Wars Battlefront, and we were Battlefront gang. That was like our whole thing.
Battlefront gang.
There's a picture in the Discord of us all standing like Palpatine.
There's a picture on my Instagram. If I allow you to follow me on my personal Instagram, there's a picture if you scroll back from high school of the 4 of us, and I have quotes of all 4 of us that we would always say on the game.
Wasn't mine sicko mode?
Literally.
I can look.
What was it? Because I made up. If you've played Battlefront with me before,
Or if you used Kylo Ren's alt.
Yeah, because it's frenzy mode, and I'd be like, guys, I'm going sicko mode, because Sicko Mode by Travis Scott was like the song at the time. So that's why I would do it, because I thought it was hilarious.
No, your quote was "Oh shoot, oh darn, oh heck."
Oh yeah, be like,
That
oh
was
shoot, oh
your,
darn, oh heck, before
Caleb's
I started
was
saying
different
things like
literally,
fuck.
right?
Caleb's was him screaming that he's stuck on a box because
I'm stuck in a box.
Caleb would famously be trash at the game and die, and then say that he was stuck on a box.
Yeah.
And then yours was just chewing.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
I thought
chewing
I thought the
sounds.
funniest meme was I like baked Lays, and I would get just a bowl of them, and I would stuff them all in my mouth, and then put my mic right next to my lips and just go and just crunch them as hard as I could.
Cheez-Its, pretzels, chips, whatever this man could find.
Yeah.
And then my quote was just, "Bro, I hate this game so much," because I would play it like 6 hours a day, and I would just constantly complain about the game.
Yeah. I
But
feel like what really hurt it too at its initial launch, because we talked about some of the customization, was that this is in the loot box era with Overwatch specifically, and
Right.
everybody being like, oh shoot, if I put loot boxes into a game, then I could make more money off of it.
Right.
And I think it came out that on release that to get
Darth Vader.
because the heroes could also be unlocked by loot boxes. To get Darth Vader required like was it like hundreds or almost even 1,000?
It was like 1,000 hours of gameplay to
Someone
unlock.
on
It was
Reddit
actually
exposed that.
it was actually only 40 hours, which
was
still
40 hours?
still is
That's
the
still
big
a
thing was
lot.
people were complaining because they wanted to just be able to play as Darth Vader,
Yes.
the most iconic villain in all of cinema history, to like on this little game that they could casually pick up, you know?
Exactly.
And that was the big issue. You know, people wanted to play as Darth Vader, and you either could buy him with a microtransaction or you had to play for 40 hours. Now, I would argue with games like Warzone, Fortnite, things like that now, if that game had come out now, I feel like there wouldn't be as much complaining because there's so much of that now. It's either like, oh yeah, you can get this by paying for it right away, or you can just do these objectives and you can get it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
that was obviously its biggest hurt because not everyone's a hardcore gamer anymore. A lot more people are casual, and I feel like it's important to cater for that. But if you're doing a game like Star Wars and you have characters like Vader, and you're telling me I have to play as some cruddy Sith character who I don't really even care about, or as a casual fan might not even know, and I just want to play Vader, I feel like that's a little bit of a disservice. And people really didn't like that, and it hurt the game.
Well, it hurt it within the beta because everything was these credit crates, and that was what that was. But by the time they fixed it upon launch, it was already too late. People were just like, "I'm not going to get it."
Yeah, I remember there. So, and this was all on EA. So DICE was the developing company that worked under EA for this whole project. And I really hate when I see online that people give DICE crap for the microtransactions because they weren't even ready to release the game when it released, and EA was like, no, you're releasing the game now, and here's all these microtransactions that you have to have in the game.
As AAA companies do.
Yeah, and there was like, I know there were files for like additional reinforcement units for each faction that to this day never made it into the final game because they had all this stuff they wanted to do, and EA was like, nope, put the game out right now. So they had a half-baked Star Wars Battlefront game that they were forced to release.
Well, every EA game is half-baked on launch.
That's
we all
true.
know that by now.
Yeah, we'll get into that at the end of the story.
Yeah.
The timeline here, but they had all this stuff planned. The game released prematurely from the developer's perspective, and it was just people hated it, and people were just complaining on Reddits and forums and just EA forums, like everything. And then EA released the most disliked Reddit post in all of Reddit history, and it was called the Pride and Accomplishment post. And they made this whole like corporate statement saying that the real reason that Darth Vader is locked behind 40 hours of gameplay if you don't want to pay for him is to give you a sense of pride and accomplishment when you finally do unlock him. And that was what set people over the edge.
Yep. And for
The
rightful
old master
reason.
skin.
Yeah, the old master skin.
If you want to wait, then you must play. That was... Yeah, and again, that's what really makes me upset too, is still some people to this day won't touch Battlefront because of this whole like controversy and these issues with it. Because they're like, why am I going to play another game by EA? Which, I get it. You know, I really want to like EA's games, but yeah, EA's just a garbage company.
Whoa, hold your tongue. Titanfall 3 is coming.
No,
That's Respawn, brother. That's Respawn.
First of all, that's Respawn that does that.
Respawn's also
Respawn
working
is one of the
on-
most reliable game companies ever next to the
Respawn and
behemoth.
DICE.
Next to the behemoth, bro.
Respawn is
has,
also
like,
working on supposedly
all
a
good.
Star Wars FPS multiplayer game too.
I only pray that that's true, dude.
Me
But
too.
no, have you not seen the stuff about T3?
It's not real, dude. It's all like fake leaks this entire time.
I don't know. I
fake,
think it might
dude.
have some.
I
doubt
mean, they
it.
updated Titanfall 2 and added a
They
new game
did,
mode. And
but-
then they started seeding things throughout the Apex updates.
The predictions were supposed to be in the Apex update that something's going to be announced in October, and it was just an announcement for Apex.
Well, I mean, that's fine. As long as they're updating Titanfall 2, then that means that it can happen.
Yeah.
Nah.
So there was the whole thing, and then there was the Last Jedi DLC that came out that was actually free for the game, and I thought that one was really cool because you could pick a faction if you wanted to be First Order or Resistance, and then the player base, everyone that like picked a side, would get rewards for hitting like certain amounts of XP and headshots and kills and things like that. And it was a cool way for the community to work together. You got 2 new heroes with Finn and Captain Phasma.
Yep.
And they were really fun to play.
Captain
Phasma was just garbage when she first came out. And that's why I want to give a lot of credit to DICE, because they constantly, they would do monthly updates, and every month they would tweak the heroes, and they would balance them, and they would change their stats just ever so slightly. And it made the game over time a lot more balanced over the 3 years that it was supported. So that DLC came out, and then of course there was the whole backlash with The Last Jedi. So this was kind of like a 1-2 punch on the game, because it was already losing player base for the microtransactions, and then there was all the neckbeards yelling about the Last Jedi movie, so now you have even more people not wanting to play this game. And then really the game just kind of hit, like, that was where I started to get super into the game, was when all this was going on, and I was kind of paying attention on YouTube a little bit, to like a bunch of YouTubers. Actually, Palpamemes, who was our very first guest on the podcast, his whole channel before he became a Star Wars channel was a Battlefront channel. So that's a super cool little, he actually just did a podcast where he was talking about that.
Nice.
But yeah, this is where I started to get super into the game, and then we just heard absolutely nothing about the game up until May. Yeah, dude, literally up until like May or June of 2018, because during this time, DICE was pulling the spine out of the game and replacing the entire progression system. Because originally, to get star cards and stuff, you had to pay to get the star cards. It was ridiculous. So I think it was May of 2018, DICE came in and was like, hey guys, it's all progression based now. When you level up, you get a skill point, and you can use your skill points to unlock cards, upgrade cards, and then you can get credits to unlock characters and do things like that. And it made everything much more digestible as a game. It made you actually want to grind, because you knew that you could actually achieve the things that you wanted, and you didn't have to go through a paywall to get the things that you wanted. And then there was the announcement of the biggest, I would say the beginning of the biggest turnaround in gaming history was in the middle of 2018. And that was the big reveal of the Geonosis Star. Were we in school when that came out? I feel like we were in school.
It was 2018, so yeah, we were still
because I feel like we were all geeking out about it.
No, there's very specific things that it was me, Tommy, because we had the same lunch period, and we would. I think the main thing was the one I really remember was the Rise of Skywalker trailer.
Yes,
that
I remember that. Yeah.
You and I were in the caf, and then we ran upstairs to
No, it was you and Caleb. I was in class.
It was me and Caleb, and then we ran up to you in class, and then Mr. Fawn was like, "What are you guys doing?" We're like, shh.
Nerd stuff. Shut up.
And then we showed you the trailer, and that was pretty hype.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I think out of all the updates too, I remember the Grievous and Obi-Wan the most, just because it was like, oh my gosh, like they care about the Clone Wars, and we're getting clone stuff.
It started the Clone Wars.
Do you think
snowball where everything just started coming out? Those all Clone Wars based updates.
Yeah, I remember. And then I forgot too. In the midst of when they were pulling the spine out of the game, there was also that Solo DLC, because at that point they were like, we're doing DLC seasons, and so they made the season on Solo. They did like Kessel and like the new skins for Han and Lando,
and then they never did another season.
Yeah, they kind of were like, okay, this isn't. So they switched to free monthly DLC updates, and they made customization stuff that you could buy with like crystals and stuff.
But you could also unlock with credits.
Yes, exactly. So they were like, okay, so this is what's going to come out. We're going to do Grievous and Obi-Wan, and then we're going to do eventually Anakin and Dooku. And that was where people like lost their minds. So I believe they did Grievous first, and I feel like that was in October, because I remember it was Halloween and he had just come out.
I remember it specifically because the promo image, it was the battle damage Grievous. That they dropped for Halloween, being like, oh yeah, this is a thing, and then we lost our minds about it. Because he came out, and I feel like he came out with Felucia first.
No, Felucia didn't come out till like the very end. It was Geonosis that Grievous came out with.
Really?
Yeah, because that was the Grievous.
Because I thought Felucia came out. I thought Geonosis came out last. I thought Felucia.
No,
was first.
Felucia was like one of the second to last map or planet that they made. So
No, what? No, I do remember that because when it first dropped, and then we like found the Rancor skulls, and we were like,
yeah, yeah, man. So they did Geonosis on Galactic Assault, and it was like you could play as ATTs. You could, like, there was just so much.
It's got the Dust Storm too. That's what makes it so much fun.
They added new customization for the clone troopers, and they added customization for the battle droids. It just completely changed the way, and especially because they knew what their demographic was. It was us, and it was our age, who grew up with that era of Star Wars. And the shout out to all the DICE developers, and none of them work for DICE anymore. They all got promoted and like sent off to different developers and under EA. So good for them, but they were super active on social media, on Twitter specifically, back when it was Twitter.
Previously known as Twitter.
Like I remember so many times, because I mean you guys remember when there'd be patch notes that come out, I would just spam our group chat and give like the watered down.
You would tell us and nobody ever cared.
No one cared. No, I was like way into it. But yeah, man, it was just super nice, because I remember there were so many times where I would like comment I'd reply to one of their tweets, and they would like reply like within an hour, and just like it's like, yeah, this is what we're doing, blah blah blah, like, or like, oh, we can't share that right now, you know. So it was just very, very intimate, the way that they talked to their fan base, and it made you feel so much more included as a player of the game. And so
it also helped that the team, they weren't growing the team, they just like, because everybody started to get shipped off,
they had shrinking.
They had a primary team that was like just diehard Star Wars fans that knew what the community wanted, and it was just became a passion project.
It did,
rather than it being, because the money was already gone. If people were going to play it, they were going to play it.
Yeah,
but the numbers of the player base started to rise around this point.
So then they did they added new vehicles, they added, you know, all kinds of new stuff, and then month to month you would get more content. So, and then each month they were doing, a new hero. So it was Grievous, then you got Obi-Wan, then you got Dooku, then you got Anakin.
Anakin was the piece of resistance, because when he first dropped, he was broken.
The broken one.
The idea behind him was like, oh, he's the chosen one, he's the most powerful. So they're like, let's give him an extra ability, which was if you killed enough people or like got enough points, then you would get this Y ability that we all deemed the win button.
Yeah.
Because you just start choking everybody around you, and at the time, it would just choke you to death, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty annoying whenever we were playing Heroes vs. Villains, and all three of us would try to gang up on an Anakin, and then he'd jam the win button, and then Kayla would just be like, oh, the win button! There goes the win button! So
Anakin, I remember when Anakin came out, people wanted to play as Anakin so bad that the people on the villain side would just keep jumping off the map and killing themselves so that the match would end, and then we would switch sides so they could play. It was nuts. People were crazy for that character.
I definitely remember when it first dropped, there was especially between me and Caleb wanted to play him, and
you guys would always argue.
Oh my god!
Who chose Anakin? Who chose him?
Because I like, my play style is Tommy's the Swiss Army knife. He plays every hero and he's good at all of them. I play one and I'm good at one, and that's all I do.
That's how I am.
So for the dark side, my one is Kylo Ren, and for the light, it's Anakin, and I'm pretty cracked at both of them. But it's. Yeah, if I couldn't grab Anakin, I was like, okay, guys, who did it? Who did it?
Okay, guys, who did it? We're leaving the game.
I remember that every single time a new character would drop, Kayla would be like, they're my new main. Nobody's allowed to take
guys,
them.
No one touch it.
It's my new main. Nobody's allowed to touch it. It's my new main.
Dude, I remember too, oh, come on. I was trying to find how much time I have played on Battlefront 2,
it's like 230 freaking hours or something.
I think it's more than that.
No, it's like 200 days or something.
200 days.
Yeah. It's on the Xbox app.
That's what he's looking at. Stupid.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Anyways, but I remember specifically that Caleb would always say that every new character was now his favorite character, and it was his main, and we would all be like, well, we want to play as the new character.
We want to too bad.
I want to turn.
We would try to do like every time it would come up, like you get it, then I get it, then Caleb gets it, and he would just take it every time. Especially when Grievous came out. That one was the worst.
Dude, Grievous was the worst, because I wanted to play as Grievous so bad.
And nobody was allowed.
No one was allowed.
Nobody could touch it.
It was the good old days, though.
Those were the good old days
But
until they ended.
after that, we had a couple more Clone Wars
Okay, here's
related updates.
I had 106 days, 12 hours, and 16 minutes as of right now on Battlefront 2.
Dang.
And the number still grows.
It still does.
I wonder what the hour count on the Quack.
The hours on yours are definitely a combination of hours.
Well,
though.
from like the beginning.
So
until you
I
got
have
your
a
own
total
Xbox.
of 2,556 hours on Battlefront 2.
Sheesh.
Absolutely
Let's see if
ridiculous.
I
I'm a
even have
no
the
life.
Xbox app, I forget.
Just a daily login streak for the Xbox app.
Huh?
Apparently. Where did you find it
I
at?
searched Battlefront,
Nah, shit.
and then
Yeah, I can't log in right now. I forget
there it
my
is right
password.
there. And then if you go to scroll down to your, like it says your progress, hit that. And then go back, and then go to stats.
So compared to Tommy's 106 days, I have 14 days, 23 hours, and 48 minutes.
Which that's still a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
Still,
Yeah.
But somehow, and Tommy and I played pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But then I would
Tommy
get
just
off and
played
Tommy would
more.
keep playing.
I keep
And
playing.
that's all Tommy would
Dude,
play.
when Anakin came out, I literally pretended to be sick so I could stay home from school so I could play as Anakin Skywalker.
That's 336 hours just for the days.
Yeah. That's insane. But yeah, it was just so
What's
much
your
fun.
kill count? What's your because you
It
can
was
see
like
your kills.
94,000.
Mine's 11,000.
Sheesh. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was just a ton of fun to play that game, and the camaraderie that we had with people. Just the community was super positive.
Oh, yeah.
And well, then they started adding new stuff. They started going like, okay, well now we're going to do reinforcements. So here's like the clone commando and the ARC trooper, the commando droid and the droidica, and just all different things. And like they were like, okay, we're gonna add a bunch of new clone trooper legion skins. Like here's
Yup.
this, here's that.
The Legion skins are the best, even today.
And then Rise of Skywalker came out end of
Yes.
2019. So all this.
The new maps for that, and then
Yep.
you had the new skins for Kylo and Rey. And
All
Finn.
the Clone Wars
Dopeness.
content was coming out between late 2018 all the way through 2019. It was just Clone Wars, Clone Wars, Clone Wars.
Yep.
And then they added the new Supremacy mode, which was similar to
Supremacy was wild.
No one, you guys will never know this. The supremacy, like Tommy
first
and I
came
knew
out.
it. When it first came out. I remember we were minutes away from the longest match in the world. We had a match. It was like 5 hours or something.
4.5 hours
It was
long.
it was
Yeah,
4.5, and like the longest at the time was like 5.
Five something. Five
So
and
like
some
we
change.
were just it was grueling, but it was so cool because it felt like an actual war was
Yeah.
going on.
Jacob and I have gone for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
You play Supremacy, and you'll get lucky if you go back to the ground phase once. It usually it ends, and that's how it was intended. Was to you go to the ship, and if you get lucky, you go back to the ground. But dude, it would just be back and just tug of war, just endless.
It was so fun though because it's
Yeah.
like because then one side would start to get tired and the other one would fight harder.
People
and then
would
like,
back out, and new people would come
and
in.
new people would come in and they'd be fighting hard. So it's just the fact that we had the 4-hour match. I remember it was like a Friday night. It was you, me, and Caleb going, and like. When we hit 3 hours, we were like, this is getting annoying. When we hit 4 hours, we're like, guys, we're almost at the world record.
Yeah,
So then we
yeah.
were like fighting even harder to like keep it like going. So that was so much fun. But then like within a month, I think it was 2 weeks happened where it was like that. And then they updated it. So it got
They changed.
easier.
Yeah.
They made it so that when you go back to the ground, the points go quicker on the ground phase, so that you wouldn't be.
smart.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that is again like that's just why that game has such a special place to me. And honestly, I would say it is my all-time favorite Star Wars video game because of all the experiences with my friends playing that game. But
What about all-time favorite game? Because you said Star Wars.
Minecraft is my all-time favorite game.
Minecraft
Okay.
is
It's
good.
Minecraft.
That's a good
That's a good. They just released Star Wars DLC for Minecraft.
I
Did that
see
come
that.
out?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. People
'cause
have been playing it.
Kind of want to try it.
It's all prequel.
Yeah. Maybe we all hop on tonight.
I work tonight.
I gotta cook
yeah.
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe I hop on.
Yeah, so they did all the Clone Wars content, and then Supremacy came out, and then they did stuff for Rise of Skywalker. Like you were
Yep.
saying, the skins. They did the new planet, which is honestly one of my favorite maps in the whole game. That
Really?
jungle. What's the jungle planet called?
It so
I love that
much.
map so much.
I think it's okay.
And they did Supremacy for that planet. They opened up new maps like the.
And then in that update, they did Crate at Sunset.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
They did They did the First Order Star Destroyer and the Resistance ship as new maps as well.
And that's also the same update that they made Ewok Hunt permanent.
Ewok Hunt used to be
It used to just be
one little
exclusive.
game mode here and there.
Oh, do you remember the other game mode that they never did again? But it was you only played as aerials, like the jet troopers.
Yeah.
And you would like,
I just barely remember
dude, I
that.
hated that game mode, dude, and I would play it too all the time. But yeah, they did. So they did all that content. They added BB-8 and BB-9E,
The worst characters ever.
new characters in the game.
The ball.
Darth Ball. I love those. Those were awesome.
If you're good at them, you're good at them.
I put so much time into just those two characters. And I can like mop the floor with most people in that game with those two now. Then early 2020 came around. COVID had hit in March, and that was when they shut everything down. It was like middle to late March, right?
Yeah.
We all came home from school. We were like, okay, cool. We're just going to play video games. We're going to play Battlefront, have a good time. And there was all this news and rumors, and the devs were like coming up and like, hey, like we're, going to be making Supremacy for the original trilogy. Like we're going to be adding more maps, and then, stay tuned. We got more stuff coming.
Yep.
And then in April of 2023, I remember I come home from a run and I saw that DICE had posted the new community post.
Yep.
And I read through all the patch notes, and then at the bottom they go, guys,
The Scarif update.
thank you guys so much for all your support of the game. This is going to be the last update for the game. And I was like, what? We're like on a keep in mind, Christmas of 2019, Battlefront 2 had the same amount of players that the brand new Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare.
It had more players when it died than it did at launch.
It had over 1 million active players on the game when EA came in and pulled the plug. So I've had the chance, I'm not going to disclose any names because out of respect for those people, I've talked to people who were YouTubers for the EA Game Changers, who I was friends with on Twitter. I've talked to devs. I've talked to friends of mine who are also in the loop, and I've heard the same story from everybody. DICE was working on the game. They were going to release in probably because at this point their team was really small, so they kept having to push monthly updates back and back and back, and it started to be like every 2 months. Because they had just done Fallujah, which was a huge undertaking.
Yes.
And they were getting ready for OT Supremacy to complete all 3 trilogies. And they included Scarif, they ported it in from Battlefront 2015, and they were going to have Imperial Star Destroyer and Rebel Alliance Mon Calamari ship would be the 2 ships you'd go up to.
They were also like about to add Ahsoka and Padme as heroes to the game.
Yep. So they were getting ready to do all these updates, and literally just EA sent them an email, just mass sent an email to all the devs one day and said, you guys are no longer working on this. We're going all hands on deck for Battlefield 2042. And it's going to be the biggest Battlefield game to ever release. And the DICE guys were like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. So they had to just pull the plug. And that's why if you go on specifically Scarif, and you're playing in first person as a stormtrooper, if you look down into the ground and you look at the reflection on the scope of your E11 blaster, you can see both of the capital ships in the sky. That's how close they were to getting those to be playable in the game. And EA was like, nope. And so they put all hands on deck for Battlefield 2042.
And then they mixed Ahsoka and Padme into an ISB agent, and then everybody was like, that ISB agent looks a lot like Padme, and then they threw a scar on its face. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So it was a very sad moment where this game that had so much momentum behind it just came to a crashing halt and then became a game that is not even good.
Dude, Battlefield 2042 is so mid as well.
I loved it at launch, but it's just not that
It didn't hold up.
It didn't hold up.
It didn't hold up.
People didn't want to play it.
I played it maybe 3
it's
times.
half-baked.
I played it maybe 3 times, and it was granted this was before I was on next gen, so it wasn't running well. It just
I remember
it was like
Wasn't running
awful
well for a lot of people.
It was just it wasn't fun. It just felt I don't know, because Star Wars the Battlefront was nice because it had a soul to it. Not just because we're all fans of the franchise, but because there was a team behind it that absolutely loved it, and it was a passion project, and you can tell.
The devs played the game just as much as the players played it.
Yeah, so then when this comes out, it's just a soulless cash cow.
It's another shoot 'em game. There's no real, like, a lot of the other Battlefield games have a story mode to it, which makes it interesting. This didn't. The UI is so confusing. It's so hard to understand what you're doing.
At this time, when that game was out, Warzone, Call of Duty's first Warzone, was at its peak.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Warzone's
awesome.
I love the Activision FPS build compared to everything that EA
Frostbite
does.
is very clunky compared to...
Because Frostbite, what it is that it's just like very like robotic, where Call of Duty feels more natural. Everything has weight to it, so it feels more natural to play. So I love Call of Duty, and I loved Warzone. So it's just the fact I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time playing this when I'm really good at Warzone and I love playing it. So it didn't hold up whatsoever. And then from there, Battlefront 2 kind of phased out for me. Right now, we play it like every so often with people from the Discord.
I play it at least probably once or twice a week with a couple guys. Yeah.
But the thing is that when I hop on, I just BS. I'm just there to talk. I don't really play.
I just only do it to talk to people.
Because it's like, I unfortunately, I don't like playing Battlefront anymore. It's just lost everything for me because there's nothing new. Every game feels the same. And it's the Frostbite engine, so it's not like I have anything to look forward to or trying to strive to get better. I'm just trash at Frostbite, and I always will be. But it's just... That's why I hope someday Activision gets a hold of a Star Wars FPS, because then that will be a lot of fun to play.
So EA no longer has their exclusivity.
Yeah, no, because EA... Perfect. So it could happen, like... Infinite Warfare, when that came out, that was so much fun. So if we had like an Infinite Warfare like Star Wars game,
that's funny because that was the one that took me out of Call of Duty.
Really,
I loved the campaign. I played it through. I tried to get into the multiplayer. I just was not a fan.
Everybody hated it. I'm like an Infinite Warfare supremacist, dude. I would play co-op mode with Justin all the time.
Granted,
I loved the exosuits were amazing.
Because we were playing that right after Titanfall.
Yes.
So Titanfall, we were used to their mobility and all that stuff, and then Infinite Warfare was just the Activision plugin for FPS, but with the mobility of Titanfall.
Yes.
And it was so much fun.
I loved Black Ops 3, though, and Black Ops 3 was...
Black Ops 3 was okay.
That was okay.
I love that game.
Because it was like a dialed down or like a dialed up version of Infinite Warfare. Yeah. But what did slap, though, even though I hate Frostbite, Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 I still think is my favorite shooter of all time.
Battlefield 1's up there in my top 3.
It's so much fun.
It's such a good game. And that was a big reason I liked Battlefront 2 was because it was on the same engine as Battlefield 1. So I was used to the way that things move. But something about Battlefield 1 was just...
It's so special.
Everybody was tired of futuristic and wanted something new and original.
Right. It was
That's when Infinite Warfare was coming out.
It was the first... it was the first one that set the trend so everything went back to the past... and then went into modern day again, which is the same cycle that's been repeating itself. But it was the first one to go back to the past. And then that happened, and then it was like Call of Duty World War II came out, and that game was trash.
It was all right.
We played it for maybe 5 minutes. It just wasn't fun. Then
I was into it for like a month.
We went back to Battlefield 1, and then the Modern Warfare started to come back. And then people started playing that. But
yeah. So... this is, I'll give you guys the full rundown on what DICE was doing with the game. Because I have the whole, it was more than just Ahsoka.
Give me the spark notes.
So this is...
the Quizlet.
The next planet was supposed to be... first of all, they were planning to do a port of the game for the next-gen consoles. They knew, because they had the player base, and because people were moving to the new consoles, okay, well, if we release a new version of the game, which is backwards compatible, that you can get for your new consoles, that'll drive up sales, and that gives EA what they want. They want more sales. And we'll just make customization, the option to purchase versus, whatever. So they were getting ready for a port of the game for PS5 and Xbox Series X. This was a thing EA knew about, too. So that's why it's even more baffling that they pulled the plug on Battlefront. They were getting ready for that. And alongside it, they were like, well, we should do some new content to help advertise. New planet, Mustafar, was going to be the new planet that they were already working on for the game.
I didn't know that.
And it was going to be available for Supremacy and for like Heroes vs. Villains and stuff.
That would have been awesome.
New heroes were going to be Ahsoka and Ventress. Were going to come out first.
I knew that.
And
I
then
remember that.
Padme and Jango Fett were going to be the next two that
would've
came
been
out
dope.
after that.
I'm still praying on Django.
And
one day.
Later on, they said that, this was stuff they weren't developing yet. Was they were working on stuff to go along with Mando Season 1. And they were going to do some content related to Jedi Fallen Order. And it was going to be Cal Kestis as a playable hero in Battlefront 2 so that they could like, oh, you like this character in Battlefront 2? Well, he's from this game and you should get this game, blah, blah. And they were going to have Second Sister as the villain and you could play as them in the game.
Wasted opportunity because
That's what
that's
they're
the
gonna
thing too. This Star Wars would be a whole lot better in the eyes of the community if you had a game like that was updating with how the content updated. Granted, Lego Star Wars is trying that, but Lego Star Wars is kind of mid in my opinion.
Yeah, the new Lego Star Wars is 90%.
I didn't even finish.
It's
it.
90% cutscene, 10% gameplay. Like
even
nothing.
the gameplay is just kind of like pew pew, and then it's a cutscene.
Like there's no substance to that game, which is really upsetting because they try to jam pack all this content into it and side missions and features and things like that.
Open world.
But they let the story drag, and the story was the most important part is pivotal to the original game, and then it became a passion project that became they did this not because they should, but they're like, oh, because we can do this, and it was a mess. Mm-hmm. So that's a game that you play through the prequels and it's there, and you play the OT and you feel like people actually like the OT, and then the sequels are just thrown in. It's not good. It's really unfortunate because of how excited we were for it.
And that's been the constant. Every Star Wars game, except for there have been some good ones. Like there's been Jedi Fallen Order. There's Jedi Survivor. I've heard really good things about. I still have to play.
You gotta play.
You still haven't played.
I need to get the new Xbox.
Do you have the story spoiled for you yet?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Still play it though.
Yeah, I'm still gonna play it. And
he made me cry.
We've got exciting games coming up, and I'm hoping that it helps me get more hyped. But I just first of all, don't believe any rumors that there's going to be a Battlefront 3. It's not happening.
It's been rumored since the game ended.
Because EA owns the rights to the name Battlefront, so no other developer is ever going to be allowed to do a Battlefront game. EA's never going to do it. They're never going to revisit the Battlefront series. And
I doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah, if we do, that's why I keep hoping that the Respawn Star Wars shooter is going to be really fun to play. They said it's going to be a smaller scale game. So I'm hoping that it's just a lot of fun to play. I can play it with friends, and it's engaging, and it keeps me. I don't need to play it for 6 years the way I've played Battlefront 2. Mm-hmm. I just give me like a game that lasts a year that I can play, have fun with, and just remember it.
Because right now, no game has come out other than Jedi Survivor where it's like I want nothing but to play it. Even the new Legend of Zelda, I absolutely love that game. I'm on the final boss now, but it didn't grip me like the first one did because it just felt like the first one. Mm-hmm. There has not been a game in a very long time, it feels like, that I have been so excited for. Granted, very long time is under a year. But it used to be like every 3 months, 4 months, a new game was coming out that like everybody wanted to play and everybody was going to get. But now it's just like...
Just kind of grew up. Mm-hmm. Don't have time for games.
Yeah. I've been having an itch to play Warzone, but again, it's like... Mm-hmm. What time do I have to play? That's what it comes down to. Is what
you're gonna go? I want to play this, and then you're gonna download it, and then you're gonna realize it's gonna take 24 hours to download, and by the time it's downloaded, you don't really care.
Mm-hmm. All my buddies re-downloaded Fortnite, and they were playing it, and I was like, "Dude, I'll play it with you." And now I'm like, "What time?" Even this Thanksgiving break that I have right now, I have to work on all of my final projects. So like my whole break is literally wiped with work. Yeah. So I'm like, "What the hell's the even?"
I've been spending my entire build up to this break working on everything and getting pretty much everything out of the way.
Yeah.
So I actually have time. So I have been playing some OG Fortnite. It's really nice. It's refreshing because it's all the new stuff I don't like. That's what got me out of it. But going back and playing, like, it's right when the the crater happened and they destroyed half of Dusty Depot, and there's like all like the different biomes.
I miss Dusty Depot.
Yeah, Dusty Depot.
I always drop Dusty Depot. That was the best place to drop.
I always drop Loot Lake, but
I feel like I dropped Dusty Depot.
It was like now it's the point where Loot Lake was ripped out of the lake.
Yeah.
So that's like where it is. So it's kind of OG, kind of not, but it's still been a lot of fun. I absolutely I adore the no build mode that they added because now it's leveled the playing field. So I don't know how to.
So if you don't know how to crank 90s, you're still...
dude. If I can't build Trump Tower in under 3 seconds, I'm done down. So it's a lot of fun. I picked it up. I played like 3 matches like the other day, and I think in one of them I had like 15, 16 kills or something because I don't have to worry about building stuff, and it's pretty easy.
Bot lobby.
Kind of felt like it.
Another day.
Another
victory for OG.
You guys remember the point in time where, like, if you got a victory royale, you had to post that stuff?
Dude, I was posting my victory royales, bro. I remember
you had to post them on Snap.
I was
already
checked out on Fortnite before it actually like official. I was playing in the beta, and I was just bored before season 1 even started.
Well, because we didn't have PUBG yet, or we just started playing PUBG.
Oh, I love PUBG.
And then the Russian Badger made a video on Fortnite before it blew up, and then we started playing it, and then we were like, okay, this is a lot of fun. We played it all the way up till the Cube. Kevin the Cube! So we played all the way up until then, and then we kind of fell off. But no, the game was a ton of fun to play when it first dropped.
Even the holiday modes are fun.
It's okay to like revisit every so often.
Yeah.
But as of now, I'm gonna finish Alien Isolation, and after that, might finish Legend of Zelda because I'm on that last boss. But other than that,
Wonder.
I do have Mario Wonder on my Christmas list. I hope I get it.
That. I'm not buying it for you.
It looks like a lot of fun. I've never played a Mario game other than like Mario 1, Mario Bros 2. I played like a tiny bit of Odyssey. I don't have it. So speaking of games, you need to give me back Kirby, dude. You need to give that back. I want it back.
How about remind me a day where I have my Switch?
I gotta remember.
Where I see you, bro. It's just sitting around in my Switch case. Never been touched.
My Switch is part of my...
you gave it to me.
My Switch is part of my EDC. I don't understand.
Your EDC, your everyday carry?
Yeah.
I don't.
My everyday carry consists of, right now, like the miscellaneous stuff in my backpack, my notes for film, a computer, and my Switch.
Shout out to everybody who knows what Fossil Fighters is on the Nintendo DS. I was just talking to my buddy Khalid about Fossil Fighters yesterday.
No idea.
Fantastic game. You should definitely play it.
Shout out to fellas that have played Star Wars Bounty Hunter on the GameCube.
Dude, I tried playing that again. I'll make this quick just because we should probably wrap up soon. But I tried playing it again and I got motion sick. That is so poorly made, dude. Like, I had to put down the controller and stop. I'll try it again eventually. But the jetpack controls are like... It's like,
I think you're just bad. I think it's just bad.
I was good at the game, bro. I'm cracked as Django. I am him. I'm literally him.
But you never finished it, so I actually don't think you're that good.
Yeah. The other thing that's making me want to play Warzone is that they added the boys skins.
Yeah, that is true.
And I would be like, I'll drop $5 on that.
I got Modern Warfare 3, so I have to check it out.
That was me when they're like Anakin in Fortnite. I was like, I need it.
Oh, dude, I've been playing COD Mobile. Is so much fun.
You need to get started.
Unless you're playing at night, because that is when the Asian audience is playing, and when you play against those people, you cannot win. You cannot do anything.
They're cracked.
I'll be on third shift. I'll be on third shift, and there'll be nothing going on at 4 a.m. I'll be like, I'll play a couple games of Call of Duty Mobile, and I'll be like, and then 2 minutes in, I go, nope. And I just put my phone back down, and I just keep staring out the window.
I need to figure out a way for you to get Star Wars Hunters. You need to play it.
I would, yeah.
Because you saw me run it up one match.
Yeah.
That's fun, dude.
It's Overwatch, but for Star Wars, and I was a huge Overwatch player when that first dropped.
Overwatch was trash
until it started just getting like really weird and bogged down, and then Overwatch 2 came out, and I played that for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, my dad lived in Japan for a year when he was in the Marine Corps, and he told me that it's like a cultural thing over there that you go to work, you go to school, and then if you like are a gamer, you have one game that you play, just that one game for like 6 hours a day, just practicing and practicing and practicing. So you get really good at just one video game. Yeah. And so that's why, like, you'll play at like 3 a.m. on COD Mobile, and you're just on servers with all these people from like Japan, and they're just mopping the floor with you the entire time. It's ridiculous.
Every time I was on the MRT in Taiwan, there's all these people playing like games on their phone, like bootleg, like the Candy Crusher kind of stuff, or stuff like this too. It's just phone culture there is huge.
Mobile
it's way
gaming
more
is
than
huge.
America could ever comprehend.
Have you seen the Razer backbones that you can get for your phone? Where it's like a controller that just plugs in. Those look
you can just use an Xbox controller.
Apparently we had guys at work that would do that on like third shift in the winter when it'd be snowing and there's just no one out on the street at all. And so guys would bring their controller, they'd sit in their car, and at 3 a.m. they would just game.
One thing that's really cool now is if you have the Xbox app on your phone, you can stream your Xbox to your phone via
But
Cloud
it has
Play.
to be on. Oh, really?
It turns it on for you. So it's been, I played some Jedi Survivor doing that. I played some Alien Isolation doing that remotely, and they've expanded the Cloud Play now. So I have Game Pass, and if you so I wanted to play the new Dead Space, and Dead Space is on Game Pass.
Yeah.
You can Cloud Play it, so you just press go and it just starts rather than you needing to download it, which is so much fun because it's like a game that I'm like, I don't know if I'm really gonna like it, so I play it for 20 minutes and I give it a try, and then I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't sit here and download it for 5 hours.
But yeah, so if you guys are good, I'm good. That was a really fun podcast. Just talk about some video games.
Thank you, all you epic
figure.
gamers, for joining us on this very endeavorous podcast episode, literally. And thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us your Battlefront story, what you have done with the game, or if you just downloaded it and bought an Xbox just so you could play with us.
Hybrid.
Also, if you haven't already, all of our social media is linked down below. Check it out. And follow us on Patreon if you want to win that Oppo figure. December 1st, which is coming up.
Holy moly.
So, man.
Holy whack-a-mole.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Turkey Day.
Hope you ate the turkey. Hope you ate
It's
the turkey.
Thanksgiving.
Now eat the turkey. Now
it's Thanksgiving.
Eat the turkey.
Now we eat the turkey.
It's Thanksgiving.
Now eat the turkey.
Hey, this is Vanessa Marshall. I play Hera Syndulla on Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to the 1313 podcast.
Dun 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 hum da da hum da da hum dum dum da hum da da hum da da dum dum da dum da ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba dum ba ba dum ba dum ba do ba dum ba do ba dum dum hum da dum hum da da hum dum 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 da dum hum da da hum dum da da